Hey sports bettors, this is Boyd with OddsJam. OddsJam.com is a betting tool that helps you make mathematically profitable decisions and helps you with places like DraftKings. And DraftKings is a site that we use constantly, daily, and all the time. And I did a quick video earlier on sort of a beginner or basics to help people get signed up, get funded, and use some of the easier, more common bets. Now, this particular video is going to cover the advanced, maybe more of the alternative lines, alternative spreads, talk to you about some of the promos and some of the other things you can get into at the DraftKings website and use it on a daily basis just like we do. So hopefully this helps you navigate the site better and enjoy more aspects of DraftKings. So here we go. Okay, guys, so some of the advanced things I did want to go through and show you real quick. Obviously, the homepage here is where we're currently at. I'm sure you've come across my bets, which is obviously great to keep track of where you are and what your lines are with the various bets you put in. But here's where we want to kind of get started and click into something a little bit more advanced, and that's something that OddsJam is delving into and has going on right now, is the live or in-game wagering. So let's take a look at this real quick and talk a little bit more about that right now. And again, real quick, we'll be right now soccer, live in-game soccer. You can wager on, and you can go into here and take a look at all the different options and choices you have. Certainly, you can click over to the various, look at basketball, hockey from around the world. Just the options are endless. Of course, a lot of people are getting into the NFL in-game choices, college football, NBA, college basketball, etc. So once the game's going live, you can click in here in that particular link and opt into all the options and choices of in-game, and of course use that in conjunction with some of the OddsJam help and odds and tools and resources there to combine with your experience at DraftKings. So coming up next, we're going to take a look at the promos, and then we'll move on to the alternative totals and alternative spreads. All right, so in the promos tab, something you may want to check daily because they typically have something going on daily. It'll give you the expiration date and also how you can go through the terms and go through the information you need on the promos. A lot of these are mathematically profitable and something you can take a look at, again, on a daily basis or certainly use to your advantage. So that's another way that is a revenue stream. It's typically a lower risk type of situation, so you do want to check these pretty frequently and jump into those maybe even before you place your regular bets, but also just keep your eyes on them. Typically at the top of the homepage, at the very top of the homepage, you have the current ones going on, but if you ever want to delve into some of the other ones that are behind that, that's the tab you would hit. So moving on down the line here, the how to bet, I've actually checked that out, and if you go down to the very bottom of the site, they have some how to bet on football, how to bet on basketball, how to bet on hockey. I will tell you, these are pretty fundamental, pretty simple things, and if you're looking at the advanced video, I'm pretty sure you know what a money line is or a point spread is or even a total. So not something you may want to run into here on the advanced side. There are pools and other things you can join, other contests and things you can get into, as well as jumping into some of their, and again, just to regroup on the casino and the marketplace. Marketplace, I believe, are selling some NFTs and different things like that. But you still have the daily fantasy and the casino tabs. I do want to take a look at the alternative lines, alternative totals, and we'll jump into an NFL and also an NBA example, so you can see how to jump into those. It's a really good thing. So hang on, we'll get through that next, and I think you'll find it very valuable. And here we go on the alternative lines, alternative totals. I will tell you, I use this very, very frequently. To review, though, you can go some of the daily specials, some of the player props, and also if you're looking at quarter or halves up here as well along this line. Again, all things you can take a look at. I'm not so much into the futures part of it. Occasionally we'll consider something like that, but really wanted to focus in on this alternative spread, alternative totals, and things like that. Now, I will tell you, if you click on this tab here, alternative spread, it's going to open up the alternative spreads for every single game, and you will be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling because there's a lot of information if you click on this particular tab, which if you want all the alternative spreads for all these games, that's cool, go for it. But let's say you just want to specifically target it on one game. Let's take a look at this. Just randomly hit this Milwaukee Bucks, Houston Rockets. Just again, kind of click on the space. As you can see here that you're in, and it's going to pull, I believe, Milwaukee -9 in this particular game on this particular day. And when this opens up, we'll take a look at what they have to offer for alternatives. All right, here we go. So this is the alternative spread, and what that means is for a different price, you can get a different line. Alternative totals, we'll go through those here in a minute. Again, back to your player props, other things at the top here, but This is something that if you wanted to look at, if you didn't want this Milwaukee -9, maybe you wanted to do, say, Milwaukee -6, you could get that at -175. Okay, so you get that same game, you get Milwaukee -6, but you pay a different price. Contrarily, let's say maybe you want Houston plus a few more points, you can certainly get that. And you're going to, again, pay a price. So you can tell where the market is at the -9 and where it starts to get positive and negative on the other side of the coin. But this is certainly an idea that you can use in all these games. It's a wonderful tool that if you missed a line or you missed a specific number that you had in mind, again, you might pay a bit. Times that can come in handy and give yourself a little bit of insurance by protecting that. So big tool, big thing you can use to your advantage. And we'll take a look at an NFL game next, just to talk about the totals, alternative totals, and how you find those. So we covered the alternative spreads in the NBA. Let's take a look at the alternative totals. And again, if you hit this tab, you're going to get every single alternative total for every single game going through here. And that's really not something we want to do and see all that information. I just want to pull up a random game here. Let's say specifically we want to pull up, here we go, home team Broncos. So we click on that game, that area, and it's going to open up the alternative lines, the alternative areas for us here. So we'll wait for that to download and pop up, and we'll cover that and go through it here next. Actually, want to remind you too, you can click on that game and it opens up the alternative spreads. If you scroll down, you see alternative totals. And again, right now the market's right around that 42, 43 area. So in this case, let's say you wanted to do over 39. You can have over 39. You're just going to get it at -165. Okay, so on the other side of that coin, let's say you wanted to do under 45, you can have that. It's going to be at -155. If you want to make that bet, that's all you do is click on that game, click on that situation. Under 45, -155 is what I clicked on. It's going to open up for the ability for me to go ahead and put the stake or the amount I want to wager on that. You go ahead here. Let's say I wanted to put $50 on that. And then in order for me to go ahead and finalize that, I just would log in and place that bet. So I'm going to back out of that, cancel that. Okay, but it's that simple. It's that easy to find what you want, hit it, and go from there. So I think this is a tool you're going to use quite a bit, especially in NFL games. It's such a tight market, such a difficult market, and you know, every little hook, every little bet, every little bit helps, especially on those key numbers, and especially if you missed it, maybe you still think there's value. You know, kind of pay a premium sometimes for that adjusted line. This really, to me, is an options chain, right? I mean, if you're looking at stock options and buying and selling stock options, you know, you're at the money, out of the money, in the money. This is basically an options chain, right? And you're able to kind of choose what you want to do and where you want to be on a particular game, and sort of protect yourself in the alternative lines, alternative spreads. So that's where you would find those things. And finally, I'm going to wrap this up. I did show you a little bit where the props are, the player props. Let's say, for example, you want to get into a running back or a wide receiver player prop. And again, this is something at OddsJam. You're going to see the markets for these things. So when you go to OddsJam, you can pull up the markets and identify, you know, what player prop might be something you want to look at. And here is where you would find the ability to place those wagers. So okay, so you're going to have all your player props in this area, in this section. Again, that's maybe a little bit more of an advanced type of play. I think most people predominantly are sticking with, you know, the money line, point spreads, totals, things like that. But again, if you're getting into alternative lines, player props, those kinds of things, and using OddsJam can be a big help when you're combining the promos and the player props and all these things to make sure you understand the market, the price, and if you're getting a good value in this. So hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you found this very interesting, and maybe give you an opportunity to look into some other things that might be very fruitful for you at DraftKings. And again, as always, if you have any questions, let us know. Leave the comments down below. And thank you for your listenership.